Hey guys, another inbox view for today. It's Micro, well, following on from yesterday's Blackburn Beverley, which was produced by Micro. I've now also got in their Armstrong Whitworth Argosy C1 military transport. I've also got their I've also got the civilian version in my stash as well. But I thought, as we were doing the two aircraft. If I can get this into focus, that's better. We do one day and one the other day. So basically, this was introduced into the ARS inventory as the designated the AW660, whereas the civilian version was nominated the AW560. This, well, the actual Argosy itself first flew in around about, I think it was April 1959. And obviously further along, a lot of the older aircraft such as the Vallettas and Hastings were due for replacement, so they needed a replacement. And obviously, whilst they were in producing the civilian version of this, they offered a tender to the Royal Air Force of a military variant. Now, this one differed in the civil version, whereas it didn't have a nose that opened at the front of the cargo bay. And this one was basically left shut because of all the radar and avionics that was housed in there. So the rear was opened up. And obviously it had side doors for the paratroops as well, which was far easier for loading, etc. A more powerful Rolls-Royce Dart turboprops with just slightly shorter landing performance on it. So yes, but it did serve well from April 1961 up until 1975, whereby the government had to make defence cutbacks, and this was phased out, although they did keep several examples for a possible program to be developed into a flight navigational trainer, but due to costs this was also dropped, and only 2 aircraft were actually converted for the role. But they were sold on to civil operators and served quite valiantly until the early to mid 1980s. So there you go. As far as I know, there's only 1 or 2 examples of the Argosy in the whole of the world still flying. So there you go. Yeah, quite a distinctive aircraft. I vaguely remember it as a child that they were being phased out. The Hercules obviously was the frontline transport of the time, and it also took over from the Argosy and has served on quite valiantly until I think there are a few examples in its predecessor, obviously an upgraded version. And now they are obviously getting in the A400M Atlases, which I do actually hear flying over here from time to time. So yeah. Anyway, I'm getting off the beaten track here. As you can see on the actual box art, it's an actual photograph of an Argosy C1 taken at an air show. And the kit number on this particular one is 1, if I can get this to focus again, sorry guys, here we go, is 144-020. That's 144-020. And then obviously you've got a little bit of info in 3 languages on the side of the box. You've got the photograph as indicated on the top box art, and then you've got all the other products that you can get. I must admit, I quite fancy this Vickers Valiant. That's quite an interesting one. So yeah, I should imagine that one is absolutely minuscule if that's in 1/144th. And as you can see there from yesterday's inbox review, they do the Beverley. So there you go. I must admit, I did look online to see what other aircraft they do, and they do quite a vast range actually. So yes. Anyway, without further ado, we will see what's inside the box. You get 1 bag full of sprues, as you can see here. And then obviously you get a sealed bag with the instruction sheet, mask, decals, and a little PE as well. So here we go. What we're going to do First off, I'm going to move that out of the way. Okay, and then we'll go through the instruction manual first. Yes, I'm just going to take it out of the bag, which is resealable, thankfully. And as you know, Mikro are a Ukrainian kit manufacturer, just like ICM. So yes. But they do more obscure aircraft types, which is quite unusual, but it makes life a lot more interesting when it comes to subjects. So yes. Right, okay. Right, first off, you've got a little history about the aircraft itself. It's all in sort of paper pamphlet form. Okay, as you can see, Armstrong, Whitworth, Argosy, AW660, British transport aircraft. As I say, it's a little bit of an introduction about the aircraft and its general history. And then obviously down here you've got a colour call out for what would have been the navigational training version, which sadly was withdrawn due to defence cuts. But you do have the option. It's quite distinctive with this large radome nose at the front here. And this was a T2 XP447 Horatius #1 School of Technical Training 1974. So if you wanted to do an unusual variant, you could have the option of doing this. Okay. Then inside, obviously you've got your sprue trees all mapped out, so you can check you've got all your kit parts in the kit, including your Etched Brass set, your Decals, and the clear parts as well. Okay. And then obviously the first stage, as is usual, is the interior. Obviously you've got the control panel, which is assembled along with the control yokes, and obviously that goes down onto the cockpit floor along with the pilot seats. You've got the rear bulkhead which goes on. Step 2 is showing you how it should all fit on the control column, and then obviously you've got some side detail there for the actual internal framework. And obviously you've got the navigator's seat which goes down there as well, and there's a little bit of etched brass for the desk. And then you've got the internal workings where you put all the glass windows in, and obviously they're telling you the colour call outs for the interior, which apparently is light grey. So there you go, but I'll have to do some references on that. And also the flooring for the cargo area is also grey. Then it's assembly of the interior undercarriage bay and workings for one of the tail booms, which you can see there. Obviously you've got the undercarriage units which are all assembled. This is how it should actually look once it's all done. And then obviously you've got your wheels which go on as well. And part of the framework which is added to the wing, etc. And then obviously you put the two twin booms together into one piece. Okay. And then obviously the last part of that is the engine cover goes on, and then the gear bay doors go on, and then the assembly of the propeller and propeller hub onto the engine. And then obviously you've got all the fairings which go on as well. Okay, and then there's the assembly of the outer Rolls-Royce turbo Rolls-Royce Dart turboprops, as you can see here, and it's the same procedure on the opposite boom again. Okay. And again, as you can see here. And then after that is all done, it's the assembly of the main wing, which the lower and the upper are clamped together. Then you button up the fuselage with some interior detail, and also on the cargo bay door, which is a nice touch, as you can see there. And I think you do have the option of having the cargo bay door open. I may well do this, but I may have to do a little bit of interior scratch building on this, because otherwise it's going to look a little hollow. So there you go. And then obviously the air vents go onto the upper cargo bay door, etc, etc. Okay, and then the final one of the penultimate stages is obviously the main fuselage goes onto the wings. The tailplane is added to between the twin booms. The engines go onto the end of the wings, etc. And obviously you've got the glass canopy which goes on as well. And then another stage is obviously dependent on which version you want to do. You've got the standard little radome which goes on the front of the actual fuselage. or if it's the T2 version, you've got the extended radome which goes on. And then obviously you got the nose gear which goes in, and some of the actual lumps and bumps go on, etc. And gear bay doors, and then the final stage is your etched brass, is all the outer fairings that you see there which go onto the hump at the back of the canopy, and obviously more PE air indicators etc. go on, and on the wings and the tail. And that is it. Your kit is basically built. Now, you've got a number of colour call-outs. You've got the aircraft which was used as a ground instruction technical training platform at RF Halton in '75. And I've been there a few times in the past, I can tell you. Excuse me. Or you got the aircraft which is now at Cosford, which was used at the Aircraft and Armament Experimental Establishment at Boscombe Down in '84, which is quite a nice colourful colour scheme. Or you've got the standard colour scheme of an aircraft from 115 Squadron, June 1976, which I think was the year they were virtually retired. So there you go. And then on the back, which is the colour scheme I'm quite interested in doing, is of an aircraft from 70 Squadron near RF near Far East as it appeared in March 1975, which I think was actually the final colour scheme, because if you look at the early Hercules, they had the white top with the dark earth and stone and black undersides as well. And I actually have a 144th Herc, which I'm going to do in this scheme to go alongside the Argosy. So there you go. And that is basically the construction of the kit. So the next thing we're going to do is have a look at the workings of it. So on we go. I'm just going to pop this back in the bag. Okay, there we go. And then we're going to get the kit parts out of the main bag, which we've got here. So take them out, bring them out one by one. Again, it's a resealable bag, so you haven't got to worry about unsealing it and then losing parts, which is, to be honest with you, I wish a lot of kit manufacturers would do, specifically Tamiya, because they are the worst. What with their blooming paper clips, it just rips the bag, you know, and you could end up doing your fingers in or cutting your fingers. But there you go. Right, let's just put this into focus. All right, this is the fuselage halves, the distinctive shape of the Argosy, as you can see here. Nice panel line detail, if I would say a little over accentuated on such a small scale, but again it will come up nicely on a wash. Then you've got some of the interior of the actual interior cargo bay door, which you can see there, which is a nice touch. And also again there, very nicely caught. And then you got the upper cargo bay door, which you can see here. Not a bad amount of detail on this for a 1/144, I have to say. And then the interior framework, which you can see here again as well. And then obviously you've got your rear. You've got the interior cargo bay, which you can see here. Again, a nice level of detail on it for 1/144. So you have got the premise here of doing a nice little diorama of this aircraft. And I think this is part of the interior framework for the ceiling of the cargo bay. And then along here you've got the two radomes. Obviously you've got the larger bulbous one for the T2 version. Navigational trainer, and then the standard one which you see here. So very nice indeed. Right, let's pop that down there. Then you've got the upper and lower wings. Again, I have to say, some very lovely panel line detail here, which you can see. Again, that come up really lovely with a dark dirt wash and a little bit of weathering. So very nice indeed. A lovely crisp clear detail on that. Unlike the Beverley, there's not a lot of flash, if any, on this one. So very nice indeed. And then on the bottom here of the top wing, you've got the internal detail of the undercarriage bay, which you can see there, which is a lovely touch. So yes. And then obviously you've got more interior detail. This is the main cargo floor, which you can see again. Rear tailplane, again, lovely detail on that with the panel lines. Then you've got the main control panel, which is nice. This is part of the mechanism for the rear cargo bay doors. And this is the outer part of the tailplanes again. And then obviously you've got the bulkhead for the cockpit, which you can see here. And also the interior bulkheads as well. So yes, very nice indeed. In fact, I probably won't have to do a lot of scratch building, if any at all, on this. I was rather I have to say I'm correctly mistaken. And then again, you got the ceiling, which is a nice touch where most of the hooks used to go for the paratroopers. So yes, and then some internal framework detail for the cockpit. So nice detail indeed. And then obviously I'm not going to show you both. This is just one set of booms, which you can see here. Again, nice panel line detail, with a little bit over accentuated for this scale. Wheels, interior I think this must be part of the interior floor for the cockpit. More detail there. And some of the undercarriage is not bad either, although you may have to hollow out these, and it could make things a little bit fragile, I don't know. And then the outer engine, there's some nice panel line detail on there for the Rolls-Royce getting tongue-tied now. Rolls-Royce Dart turboprops. Yes, very nice indeed. And there's the other boom as well. Lovely, lovely detail. And the good thing I like is that they've got the elevator separate as well, so you can position the elevator on it. Or is that where it clips in? That's where it clips in. Sorry, mistaken on that one. Doh. And then obviously got the main undercarriage wheel there for the nose wheel. Nicely detailed. And there's a little bit of detail on the interior of the undercarriage bay, as you can see there, for the boom. Nice again, very, very nice. So yes, very nice indeed. It's not a bad little kit, this, I'll have to say. So yes. And finally, I'm only going to show you one of these again. You've got the cargo interior, you've got the undercarriage bay doors there, as you can see. And then the propellers for the Rolls-Royce Dart turboprops. Very distinctive shape, which obviously you can relate to with the old Vickers Viscount as well. More nose gear bay doors. And some aerials, etc. Oh, these are the, I think, the levers for the rear cargo bay doors. So yeah, you have to be very careful how you get these off the sprue tree here, I think. And some more detail there as well for the undercarriage units. And very nice indeed, I have to say. But be very careful when you take these off the sprues. Okay, that's what I would suggest. But very impressed with this kit, I have to say. And then obviously the next thing is the Perspex for the canopy, which is in the bag with the instructions. Let's have a look at these. Little bit of distortion here, unfortunately. Oh, hang on, let's get it into focus. Come on, focus, you bugger. Yeah, you're not going to see a lot through those. So yeah, and again, there's a lot of distortion on the canopy, unfortunately, so you're not going to see a lot of detail on that, which is a shame. But there you go. You get what you paid for in the end. And then obviously you've got just have I dropped this? Oh, no, I haven't. Get these out. And then you've got your Etched Brass detail set, which is minuscule, so when you cut these off, make sure you don't lose anything. So yeah, lovely detail on it though, I have to say, but very delicate, so be careful. Okay, And then obviously you've got the window masks and cockpit masks, which you can see here, which are laser cut. And also one for the cheat line on the actual aircraft, which is a nice touch. So yes, very nice indeed. Okay, because that's a good idea, because you can just remove those and then obviously spray. Oops, said Hazy, nearly lost the camera. Sorry about that, guys, it's misbehaving. I'm just going to adjust it again. My apologies. Right, I think I must have caught the stand or something. There we go, sorry. As I was saying, obviously these are the masks for when you do the cheat line down the fuselage half. So obviously the best thing to do, I would suggest, is make sure you've got them positioned right, and then once you've done that, all you need to do is peel that off, cut where you can, and then just go over with the spray gun, and there you are, Bob's your uncle, there's your cheat line. So good idea, well done, Micromere. And then obviously you've got one for the cockpit mode there, and then your fuselage windows as well. So nice touch indeed. And then finally, you've got the kit decals. Now, they don't look too bad, I have to say. Hang on, let's get this into focus. Is it going to focus? Come on. Here we go. What they like to bed down, I'm not quite sure, but I do have as a backup an aftermarket decal sheet. So if anything goes tits up on these, I've always got a backup. But they seem quite good, I have to say. I mean, they're nicely matted. Probably not all that bad to put down, so we shall see. But as I say, if anything goes wrong, I've always got a backup sheet. So there you go. And that, my friends, is Micromere's AW660 Armstrong Whitworth Argosy C1. And incidentally, this was the last aircraft that was ever produced by Armstrong Whitworth. Because obviously all the companies amalgamated and became British Aircraft Corporation. So there you go. But I have to say, I'm really impressed with the level of detail in this. The only thing I would criticise is that the panel lines on the aircraft fuselage and twin booms seem to be a little bit too deep and thick for that scale. But I'm sure it builds up into a lovely representation of a very classic military transport aircraft from the 60s and 70s. And it's a very essential part of the collection if you want to do the RAF transports. So yeah, particularly in 144th. So they're not cheap, because I mean this one I averaged about £31 on eBay. They do come in from the Ukraine. I don't think you can buy them in this country. I'm not sure, I may be wrong. So tell me and stand me to be corrected. But the subjects that they do, and the detail and the scale of 1/144 particularly, is very well done. What they like to build, I can't comment because I've not actually built one yet. But as I say, if you want a classic British aircraft in 1/144, certainly go to Micromere. I mean, the next one I'd love to get in is the Valiant, and then obviously Great Wall Hobbies, Vulcan and Victor. Because they are essential iconic aircraft that we had in our Air Force. So there you go. Mind you, I'm getting very excited about the imminent release next month of the retooled Airfix 172nd Vulcan. I've seen snapshots in the Airfix magazine today, and it does look an absolutely beautiful kit, and the detail in it is absolutely exquisite. So yes, the only thing I would say at 59, well, nearly 60 quid, it's a little bit extortionate. But I am certainly going to get one in my stash. And maybe Great Wall Hobbies, 1/44th and 1/44th Vulcan and Victor. And most certainly I will at some stage get the Valiant. So yeah. Anyway. That's it for now, guys. I'm not sure if I'm going to do another one tomorrow. We shall see. I might have a bit of a break because I think I'm coming to the end of all the inbox reviews because I don't think I've got very many more I can review. Unless I should get anything new in, so we shall wait and see. Anyway, that's it for now, guys. So until the next time, stay safe, wash your hands when you come in, wear a mask when you're out, 2 meter distancing, and if you get the chance to, clean your hands while you're out, do so. Because although things are looking bright and there are some slight shoots coming through of normality, it's not here yet. It's still a way off. We're gonna have to just wait and see what happens. But it's a lot more positive than it was a year ago. I'm sure you'll agree with me. Anyway, that's it for now, guys. So get kit crazy, happy modelling, and I will speak to you soon. Cheers.